kijken hoe laat het is hier. 2 uur 46.
All right.
afstand gezien is het bizar. Ik leer SS-etiketten in Auschwitz.
Ze overleefde de oorlog en keert jaren later terug om het filmsfilm te graven. Als een tekenfilm was
Jared Kane's Refuge.
What's that stone there? Be welcome to this place of words, Haradrim. Huh. The path is open. Let these scribes be your hand when you cannot hold the quill. They know our tongue.
De films zijn vanaf nu te zien op de website Brabant in beeld. Speelt iets een oorlogstuig over Roosje Glazers leven nog in de
Charles Arkent.
15 jaar geleden.
They're speaking Heradric, and they don't like you much. Looks like a ward of some sort. What's written on the stones? Blank.
Waiting to be inscribed.
Well, this is a scriptorium. Plenty of words to choose from. Let's take a look around. He was something of a recluse, wasn't he?
They all were, in their own ways. The only thing that brought them together was need. Terrible need.
From whence comes the water? That's an old Zani Sioux riddle, isn't it? Supposed to make their children think about the world. I think the answer is fire. Tanu. Avas.
Avas.
It said hello. What becomes of us? Damn a plague. Cyril, you know it?
This is the wisdom of the Ton. For all things end in winter. The answer is frost. Kidu.
My demons are quiet here.
Well, hold on. These are the elements of the Viserai, Jared's clan. Tanu, Ortu, Kidu. Hold fast.
We should return to the main chamber. Jared and I were never close. He did not trust me. But he is the reason the Haradrim remembers itself. The Symposium, where Ibn Fahd taught the younger Haradrim. That smell.
Pipeweed. Fahd had a habit. Strange-looking thing.
Fahd's sigil must be in here.
That statue in the center of the room. I want to give it another look. Is this...
An illusion. These are the fractured peaks.
Oh, hells. That damn statue. I knew there was something it reminded me of.
They are coming. I need time. You have it. Our lives are yours.
Tal Rasha.
This may have been too great a risk.
A necessary risk. The vault shall be safe now. Those who hunt us will be forever lost in the forest.
Fahd must have trained Haradrim in this place. Cyril, you alright?
Yes. I had not expected to see them again. Let's press on.
At times I wonder if I am the only mage here with a shred of caution. Tyrael presents us with 3 stones. Fragments of the World Stone itself. And who do we hand them to? Zoltan Kuhl. He is the most gifted transmutationalist among us, true, but the man reeks of ambition. And he looks at those stones like a wolf in a henhouse. I will be keeping an eye on him.
Bouquet.
The stone is prepared.
And he knows it. Haradrim, the Lord of Hatred, can see us only how he uses us. As his toys, his prey. Today, we become more than that. We become a threat.
They are here.
Be strong, my friends. fight will be. I pray for the people of this city.
That day was the first. The first time we imprisoned a prime evil. But it was not without cost. By the battle's end, the city of Abu Khair has ceased to be.
Tal, I hate to complain, but our last delivery of pipe leaf was abysmal. One breath, and such a painful fog descended that I became lost in my own chambers. For our next order, might we stipulate that the leaf be Chaldean in origin? Tal Sarek is no substitute. Your name is stricken. No longer will you call yourself Horodrim. To seek what the immortals have is to betray all we are. Bury him.
They lost one of their own, not to death, but to a disagreement so deep it could only be resolved by expulsion. It changed them. The path is open. Come.
Perception is a knife with a bladed handle. To see, hear, smell, taste, touch, and sense all that surrounds us is both an incredible power and a path to the asylum. The Amawit mages understood this dichotomy, enough to teach us to wield perception, but precious little for putting it down. How I wish that I could.
Take the sigil.
Cyril, why those moments? Why would Fard preserve them?
I do not know.
Guess then.
Because these are moments every Horadrim will know at some point in their lives, losing everything, even in victory. Let us return.
He thought he was just fixing armor, not flirting with a nine-tailed war hero. Tap, like, and subscribe. This HFY sci-fi romance is about to heat up. The letter arrived wrapped in gold filament, stamped with the nine-tailed crest of the Vulpine Empire. Silas returned it over in his oil-stained hands 3 times before believing it was real. One didn't simply get mail from the Empire, much less from its royal citadel. His repair shop sat on the edge of Dock 9, wedged between a noodle stand and a recycler. The most noble clients he usually saw were disgruntled cargo pilots who thought maintenance meant kick it until it stops smoking. Inside, the message shimmered across his workbench in thin violet light. By decree of the Sovereign Command, Engineer Silas Vernon is hereby seconded to the personal service of General Kira Selena. Report to the Capital Forge Bay within 1 rotation. Compensation classified. Failure to comply will be considered treasonous dereliction. He read the word personal twice, convinced his translator lens had glitched. The Kira Selena? The nine-tailed general whose name filled half the Empire's Christmas songs? The woman rumored to do while laughing and to make entire negotiation tables blush just by standing too close. Must be
Even knew what people were capable of, but he fought for them all the same.
Sense of humor. The Citadel's lips smelled of ozone and perfume. Silas tugged at his cleanest jacket, clean only by comparison to the others, and rehearsed what a sane, professional greeting might sound like.
For a
General,
time,
it's an honor.
I
No,
lost
to
my
sit.
way.
General, I'm here
That's
to
why you
service your
left
armor.
us.
Gods.
Went
No,
west.
that sounded wrong even
So
in his
many
head.
people died in those
The
years.
doors opened on a hall of
The
mirrored
quiet,
metal.
the
5
hunger,
guard sentinels lined
the
corridor,
death.
each bowing just
It
enough to
became
remind him they could
all
break
there
him in
was.
half.
Eventually,
At the end,
it
the tall silhouette of
was
gleaming
too
plates
much to
and
bear.
tails.
But I
Kira
found my
Selena
way
turned
back,
as he approached, helmet
as we
tucked
do.
under one arm. Her hair fell in waves of molten copper that caught the light like living flame. 9 tails spanned lazily behind her, the tips glowing faintly with energy nodes. The
The
chest plate
workshop
over her
of
heart
Zoltan
wore a
Kuhl.
long, jagged crack, humming softly. Half iron, half living crystal. You're the human. Smaller than I expected. Engineer Silas Frank, reporting for repairs. She interrupted, stepping closer until the scent of
Step
citrus metal.
carefully. I do
They
not
say you
know
can make
what
broken
we will
things for again.
find in here.
I fix machines, not felines, ma'am. That earned the ghost of a smile. Careful, human. My armor has claws. Chamber of hovering tools and magnetic plaque.
Beware, let nothing touch you.
Cracked chest plate rested on a work table that just
He's the reason the Vault's trying to kill us. Not a doubt in my mind.
with the damaged line. She tilted her Silas swallowed. No pressure. He donned gloves lined with resonance. Tuned the calibrator to the armor sound as he touched the bishop. Light flared between his palms. The metal vibrated like a living thing. The sensation was intimate, too intimate, each pulse a heartbeat against his fingertips. He steadied his The lead sealed with a soft chime. Silas sat back, exhaling. Done. No burns. Left finger, then most who touch my armor end up on the floor. You, however, her smile deepened, seem to enjoy it. He blinked. Enjoy? I was concentrating.
Tyrael has entrusted me with the Soul Stones. When I asked him why, he told me, the stones will show you. I took them to my chambers, hoping for even the smallest sign. But I was met with dark nothingness. I went to bed, frustrated, and a thought crossed my mind. They are nothing to my eyes, as I am bound by the rules of this world. These stones require one to see beyond what is there, to achieve true understanding.
As he turned to leave, the door is shut behind him. Her laughter still ringing like a challenge he wasn't sure he wanted to win. Silas returned to the Citadel Forge of Dawn, expecting another round of intimidation, and instead finding the general already waiting, stripped of most of her armor. Kira Selena leaned over Hal's battlefield, pale lips flicking as they restored the boxes. Only her undersuit clung to her form, moonlight black, latticed with silver convex that matched every muscle like a second skin. The cracked bonnets lay beside her, twitching fingers. You're early, she said without looking at her. You said you were misbehaving. I think that's totally grounding for you instead of some and you that are and you too much.
I remember how the days begin, but not how they end. I jolt awake, burned by candle wax on my hands, feeling like I've been teleported to an unfamiliar place. I've even begun to cover the cracks in my door with blankets, to conceal the flickering candlelight from the other Haradrim, namely Tal Rasha. I know he worries I'm working myself too hard, but once I can find...
I cannot be in the wilderness.
The heat made the air shiver.
This will do.
Silas swallowed hard, gloves trembling as he reached for the first plate. It's only voltage. Tell that to my heartbeat. He pressed his palm against the gauntlet's seal. Energy pulsed through the gel and into his skin, even synchronized with hers. The plate's light flared, and she inhaled sharply, not pain, something else, and laughed over it. Your hands are steady. His hand slipped, raising the skirt of her arm. Among escaped her, half chuckle, half sob. Careful and careful. You'll recalibrate apologies. Reflexes can be he forced himself back to work. Precision is important. When the last Kira touched her hand, and the finding smoothly. Glad to hear.
Keep focused.
Before he could finish, she caught his wrist. Her grip was
Serie.
firm, gauntlet humming softly.
Steady.
You handled resonance better than any Vulcan tech I've had.
Move!
We can outrun it. Just hold on.
Are you all right?
Fine. Let's get out of here.
He waited on the shoulder with his toolkit and a bad feeling about what field calibration ran. When the simulation ended, Kira's armor dimmed, smoke rising from the shoulder blade.
There's the sigil.
She pulled off her helmet, sweat slick hair.
I remember this room.
And laughed.
This is where
It still
Kuhl
kicks harder
performed
than
the
I did.
first experiments
And stop
with the
letting
Soul Stones.
Silas said before thinking.
He spent a
Watching
month in
soldiers
here.
went still.
Every
She turned
day
the
I
gold
came to
blade.
watch his progress.
Both today
And then lightning struck. The stone bled light. The vault shook.
Are you scolding your
When it was
commanding
over,
officer? I'm scolding
I
my
could see
favorite
his
piece of
teeth
the
shining in the dark.
He shot back. The corner of her mouth lifted. Flattery and insolence in one sentence. Impressive. She dismissed the soldiers with a gesture. Everyone
Kuhl
out.
was the one who
My
saw
armor needs a
humanity's
more
future,
personal tune-up.
and the one who
The
knew the
moment they were
cost
alone,
of failure.
she detached the damaged
Stagnation.
shoulder blade. Beneath it, pink silver skin showed a burned pattern following the circuitry's path. The sight punched the air from his lungs. That doesn't look good, he murmured.
One
It's
more.
nothing, she said lightly. But when she tried to he set down the tools.
Down Rorschach, the beating heart. Get
Not
back!
gentle.
Guys, kill them before they scatter. What were you going to say? The beating heart of the Haradrim.
The Empire collects medals. I collect reminders. They don't suit you. What scars? Regret. Her ears split. You think I regret victory? I think you regret the cost. For a long week, only the hum of the forge filled the air. Then she laughed quietly. You talk like someone who's lost, Frankie. Everyone loses something when they build things meant to break. Her gaze softened. You're dangerous when you sound wise. Occupational hazard. He smiled faintly. Hold still. He used the resonance gel, tracing the core lines gently. The gel glowed, responding to his touch. She shivered but didn't pull away. Their eyes met, his full of concentration, hers were fading. You treat armor like it's alive, she said. It is. At least yours is. And when it's not, let it talk to the person wearing it. Her lips parted, a question lost before spoken. He finished sealing the plate, smoothing the last seam with steady fingers. There. Good as new. She looked down at his hand, still resting inches from bare skin. You risk burning for this. I'd rather burn than watch you in pain. Silas realized the thing left his mouth before he could filter it. Her expression flickered, surprise, then amusement, then something gentle. You'd make a terrible soldier, she murmured. You'd fall in love with the enemy before the second volley. Depends on the enemy. She laughed again, the sound softer this time. You don't know when to retreat, do you? Never learned how. Then perhaps I should teach you. She stood, flexed her shoulder, and loaded experimentally. Pain's gone. Efficient work, as always. Her tone tried for casual, but her tail swayed in slow, thoughtful arcs. As she walked away, she called over her shoulder. Tomorrow, same hour. The chest plating needs a stress test. Under fire or under flirting? He asked before he could stop himself. Her laugh echoed down the hall. Yes. The next morning, the training arena had been transformed. A dozen hovering drones projected shifting gravity fields across the floor. The air itself pulsed with invisible pressure waves. Silas recognized none of it. He just knew that anything humming at that frequency could break bones or circuits, or both. Kira waited at the center, armor gleaming after his repairs. She looked every inch the commander. Tails spread like banners, visor down, confidence radiating from every motion. When she saw him, the visor lifted and a slow smile curved her lips. Ready to see if your work holds up, Engineer Wren? Ready as anyone about to watch their masterpiece get punched by physics, he said, setting his toolkit on the bench. Good. Then calibrate the sensors and stay close. I'll need adjustments while I move. He wasn't sure what close meant until she was suddenly beside him, gauntlet hand resting on his shoulder for balance as she rolled her neck. The motion looked casual, but he caught the glint of amusement in her eyes. She knew he noticed. Field protocol, she said innocently. Someone must monitor resonance fluctuations. Right, he muttered, checking his scanner. Totally professional. She laughed, a bright sound that filled the empty arena. Begin sequence. The drones activated. Gravity swelled and twisted, dragging air currents around them.
If I cannot be
Kira
moved,
leaned forward, her armor blowing along the seams he blended. She pivoted mid-air, landed, and struck the floor. Shockwaves rippled outward. He watched every pulse beam spike across his talent. Perfect stability. His handiwork was holding. Pressure stable, he called. Maybe tone down the part where you try to bend space-time. I wouldn't dream of it, she answered, flipping through a gravity surge like it was a dance step. How's my flow? Graceful, he said before catching himself. I mean efficient. Both are acceptable. She twirled, energy crackling around her tails. You're blushing again, engineer. That's the reactor's reflection. Of course. Another burst struck her side. The armor flared red, warning glyphs flashing. Silas dashed forward, hands instinctively finding the panel on her shoulder. Hold still! Kira froze mid-stance while he adjusted the seal. The hum softened, energy steady. For a heartbeat the world was quiet, just the thrum of her core and his breathing. He realized that he was still resting against the plating near her collar. She didn't move away. Efficient, she murmured, voice low behind the visor. Though your field proximity is...
What was he doing down here?
Rasha was learning to embalm living flesh. Flesh touched by the burning hells.
Ugh, poor solid.
Between them became its own language. She moved, he adjusted. She risked, he compensated. When she feigned a stumble, he caught her arm without thinking, thereby...
How can one stop destruction incarnate? How can Bale ever be contained if all he touches will crumble? Perhaps Bale's myopia is his weakness. Give him a target, a nemesis to focus his energies from wanton chaos to a single infuriating point. It will not divert him long, but thousands might be spared.
Tomorrow we test the chest array under combat simulation. Bring courage. And earplugs? That too.
This is only drugs. Been this way for a while.
Fallen were sleeping last time I was here. One must have woken, then woke all the rest.
He saw his name etched onto a crystal place card beside Jerusalem's. The other seats belonged to admirals, ministers, and one very watchful.
Zoltan has withdrawn again, claiming he's on the verge of a breakthrough with the Soul Stones. Nothing can distract me, he says. Until now. Red brush oil, black pepper, and clams. A recipe from his homeland. Once it began to boil in the common room, the scent of home finally drew Zoltan out of his chambers. He scoffed down 5 bowls. Well, granted, he scurried right back to his books, but I'll still take it as a victory.
In private, he coughed into his napkin. The admirals looked over. Kira smiled serenely as if she'd said nothing scandalous at all. When the banquet ended, guests drifted toward the balcony gardens. Kira lingered by the doorway, waiting until the crowd thinned before speaking quietly. "You handled the queen perfectly," she said. "And the sabotage. I'm filing a complaint with the Ministry of Tail Content."
Something's wrong. It still hasn't said anything.
No.
Maybe we got distracted.
No. No. That's exactly what Mephisto wants. We keep moving.
You made it entertaining. She hesitated, rare uncertainty flickering across her face. It's... Instead, she smiled, softer than before. Your trouble, silenced her. his heart was still racing, not from danger, but from the sound of her laugh echoing
Tal
down the
Rasha's
corridor.
sigil is under attack. I'll have to cut our way through. Good. Let us leave. Now.
What's that? He expanded the model. A plates interlocked with flexible biofibers. The once heavy cuirass now shaped closer to her natural form, trading brute defense for agility and range. We wanted faster. Less armor, more movement.
Tal Rasha gave all of himself for the Haradrim, and I cherished him.
Think of it as trusting the pilot more than the plating. Trust? She repeated softly.
Well, that's all of it.
Gesturing to the ghostly projection, but too much of it starts to hide what it's protecting. You don't need walls.
Lorath, the Guardian!
Good. Get in formation. Bring it down.
Damn it all! It's warding itself!
The sigils will break the wall.
Bring it in close!
Whose ward is that?
It's mine! I can break the ward, but you must strike the final blow. Destroy it!
Oh, blasted thing.
The way is open. The cube is within reach.
Someone mentioned. He smiled, not backing. Besides, I'll train you in the cancer. That earned a real laugh. The
There.
kind that softened her entire face.
Untouched all these years. Have the pieces of the blade ready. Once we've prepared the cube, we'll need them.
He corrected. Sometimes they're the same thing. She turned toward the door, then paused. Tomorrow's battle simulation will be harsh. If this armor fails, you'll be the one blamed.
This,
and I'll make sure it doesn't fail.
this was Tal Rasha's hand.
She glanced back, eyes
Oh,
glowing in the
yes.
forge light. I'd
He
rather not
couldn't
lose
stop
my
shaking. He was so
He makes
eager.
my armor.
Humble,
my day
too.
runs smoother.
Hopeful.
He blinked. Was that a compliment?
but that was a long time ago.
Her lips curved. Don't let it go to your head. And with that, she was gone, leaving him staring at the doorway.
You forgot.
Heart thrumming like one of his calculators.
Yes.
Dawn painted the citadel sky in silver and rust when the alarm klaxon started. Cyrus was halfway through tightening the last rivet on Kira's new armor frame when the wall display flared crimson.
You remind me of him, you know.
Is my handwriting that bad?
It was happening outside the city shield.
Only sometimes. But it's more than that.
The hangar bay opened like a balloon to the storm. Drones, smoke, soldiers racing past. Kira stood at the center of the chaos, suited in the coat of...
Do you remember when we first met?
It's cruel to test an old man's memory.
You asked this old man how it felt to become mortal. No one else had.
I was presumptuous.
You were compassionate. You showed me how to be human. That's how I knew the Order was in good hands when I left. And it still is. Look. We've shaped the blade that will banish a prime evil. What's wrong?
Cyrus watched from the rear console, monitoring energy levels.
No.
Everything's stable so far. No overloads. Good, she said, because I'm not holding back. She dove straight into the fray. The new frame flexed, adapted, flowed around her movements like
You, to my side. We must speak.
She said, voice faint but seasoned eating now. Let's negotiate chemicals after we survive. He answered. He rerouted power through a portable relay, hands working faster than thought. Sparks bit at his wrist, his sleeves smoldering. Grin. She started. Don't talk.
You said you could handle this. And I have. Have you? Because I am not here by choice. What happened?
My father was far stronger than I believed. He is devouring you. And soon, there will be nothing left.
Now let's get you out of it.
I am dying.
Shockwave tore across the ridge.
We have time yet. We must drive him out before he spreads further.
Before he hit the ground, pulling him against
Open the way.
flew past.
If we are cautious, we may avoid my father's gaze.
Abruptly still. Threat neutralized. The system in tow.
There you are.
Run. Burn him away. Nothing can remain.
You risk your life for it. I risk my design. He said.
Do not speak my name, mongrel.
Cease this. I want to tell you something.
Eyes right. You don't know when to run.
Life, you've surprised me, daughter. You might be the closest thing I have to an equal. But I've never once been surprised by your children. This one.
I didn't think so.
She wakes in a barn, your blood in her veins. A gift she doesn't want, from a being she can't understand. What is the first thing she thinks to do? She hunts you, and she kills you. They're all like this, you know. Driven by instinct, rotting in the mud, until satisfied or dead. Your son, his obsessions, his flighty heart. Your servant, Elias, his desperate need for a mother's bosom. Only then, Lilith.
She helped us to sit on the edge of the working, food chamber. Tonight I'm only felt any of the Alright. Kira, what's wrong with the suit? She tapped the chest plate beside her. It hums differently. I can't tell if it's me or the metal. Let's find out. Soft light spilled over her torso as she adjusted.
Here, quickly.
Yes, your war is over.
She stood off the table and faced
You looked inside me. You saw the wounds. You know what your children would do to themselves. Waste so much time making up for their failings, and it will never be enough. Because they cannot be more than what they are, my daughter.
Silence!
I know. She's just wiring your car. You're the strangest person I've ever met. Indispensable. So I'll handle the politics. If you promise no promises. You hired a professional hazard. Silence. For saving me.
Give up this vessel, or die with
He has barred the way. Now, open it!
Enough!
Because without him, the simulation would have become a funeral.
Lily!
Rippled through the chamber.
She can't hear you.
Are you suggesting this?
You would never outrun fate, you know. You're just another lamb.
So much for subtle diplomacy. Another counselor leaned forward. General, it is unbecoming to elevate personal attachments above protocol. Kira's tale was influenced accordingly. Protocol doesn't save lives. People do. And Silas Vernon has saved mine more than life.
But do not fear.
Humanity stepped out. Just doing my job.
Your death will be swift.
The elder said. Appears to have blurred into something else.
Be silent. Survive.
It took an eon to make you. To break you will only take a moment.
We will not win this. Quickly, to me!
It was the most efficient solution. You call public career fusion efficient? It prevented them from punishing.
Run, child! I care not if you tire. You will run!
Besides,
My blood runs through your veins. I am within you. I am part of you.
Sunlight streaming through stained glass, painting their reflections in gold.
The storm is still coming. Of course it is. We did not seal the breach. We did not drive him out. Look.
You realize this makes my next paycheck awkward. Think of it as hazard pay. She stopped.
My father is bound to you through me. If you are to live, you must sever the bond.
Then let's give them something to really whisper about. Meaning? Meaning, she said, sweeping down the corridor with tails flaring like banners. We have a presentation to the Queen tonight. Dress appropriately. He watched her disappear around the corner, equal parts exasperated and smitten. Right, he muttered. Appropriately. Whatever that means. And And that's how an engineer with steady hands won the heart of the Empire's fiercest fox. If you enjoyed
I
this story,
gave
drop a comment
my
below.
children
Team Kira,
a
Team
world
Silas. Hit like,
and the
subscribe,
strength
ring the bell so you
to
don't
make it
miss
their
anything
own.
that I hope I take from the day.
And all I have to show for it is you.
I found the fox being buried in the snow, and when the story forced us to share our secrets,
Fight.
it's like it was love which is last.
Sever the bond. Take your birthright and make this sanctuary yours.
Replaced by rocky paths dusted with snow. Each crunch under his boot was deliberate, steady, and calm, the march of someone who knew both danger and discipline. The first few hours were quiet except for the steady hiss of wind. Serge found a rhythm in it, breathing in sync with the mountain's voice. By noon, the calm began to shift. Tiny flakes danced around his goggles, followed by thicker, heavier ones that blurred the ridgeline ahead. The snowstorm hadn't been on the forecast, but mountains never asked permission to change plans. Serge pushed onward anyway, squinting through the blur of white until the world became a single color. Snow underfoot, snow in the air, snow. He found a ledge and paused, pulling out his compass just to confirm he wasn't veering off course.
Easy
The
there.
visibility dropped to near zero, but he caught something odd. A patch of uneven snow that didn't quite match the rest. At first, he thought it was a rock jutting out of the drift. Then the wind shifted, and he saw it, a faint flicker of color. Orange.
What?
Serge blinked.
What
Orange
happened?
didn't exist up here.
You fell
Curiosity
unconscious
overrode
and
caution.
would not wake.
He trudged closer,
Lorath went to
leaning
find
against
you
the wind,
aid,
until his gloved hand
but
brushed through the
you
snow
no
and
longer
found not
need
rock,
it, do you?
but something soft.
Hells.
White, silky strands
Lilith is
tipped
gone.
with fiery orange.
I
His
see.
stomach dropped as he knelt and
Join
dug
me.
frantically,
There are
brushing
things to
away
do
snow
before we
until a
depart.
face appeared beneath. Delicate features framed by fox-like ears drooping limp against her head. Hey, come on, he muttered, checking for breath. There was one, shallow, but real.
Intruders from the
Without
volcano.
hesitation,
We must deal with them before we seal the vault.
The soft fur on the ear, faint flicker. Snow whipped his face. The world blurred around him. Reflecting in her like molten gold. He stripped off his gloves, massaging light back into her frozen fingers. You've got terrible timing, you know that? He muttered. We'll have to wait until after the combat. He couldn't comprehend it. The light danced across her face.
I will channel the magic and restore the seal.
And the slightest twitch of her tail. Still alive. Inside.
I have forgotten what it was like to be an angel. Lorath does not know this.
Inside, fire crackled softly, painting warmth. The air began to smell faintly.
I try to recall, but it's like light dancing on the edge of a sword. Such a startling absence. But in that absence, I must look at what is left. So, what is left?
Her tail flicked once under the fabric, brushing the edge of his boot. Reflexive, maybe. Or maybe it was something else. He chuckled quietly. Even asleep, you're trouble. The wind outside howled, snow battering the rock walls. Surge adjusted the fire.
I would say the same. Lorath thinks himself a barnacle on our hull, but we know the truth of it. He is our compass, pointing the way. When we have the time, we should speak of this more. But for now, the blade is reforged. Let us find Lorath and end this.
Thank you, Tyrael.
Thank you.
He tried to keep his distance, but the sleeping bag wasn't built for two. Her tail brushed against his leg again, this time softer, as if in thanks. He smirked faintly. Yeah, you're welcome, Fluffball. The mountain raged outside, but inside that tiny cave, the fire glowed steady, and two mismatched souls shared warmth, one dreaming, one awake.
Lorath was headed for Celestia. If we follow his path, we may meet him on the road.
The fire's warmth was a small miracle against the fury of the storm outside. Every few minutes, the mountain growled, a low, distant rumble like the world's heartbeat. Surge's eyes were half-lidded, muscles slack with exhaustion, but his mind refused to rest.
I strike you down. Crows. Hold. Look.
Every time it moved, it left behind a static tickle that made his muscles twitch.
This is Lorath's.
He muttered.
He wouldn't leave it behind.
Tail has no respect for personal space. The tail flipped.
Damn it.
He stared at it for a few seconds, then slowly.
I shall find another way. Go. Lorath can't be far.
He could feel the gentle motion of her chest against the side, the faint warmth seeping the contrast between the bitter cold air outside and the snap
Lorath?
inside was almost dizzy. Man, he whispered. This is definitely how every bad idea starts. The mountain cracked in the distance, just ice shifting, but the echo seemed to punctuate his words. He sighed and turned toward her, studying her more closely. She was anything he'd seen in all his
Damn fool.
conditions, human in shape,
Like the rest of you.
her ears occasionally flicked like she was dreaming, and her lips curved into faint expressions, almost smiles.
Step away from him.
He couldn't help it. His curiosity got the lead. He reached out and gently brushed a bit of stone over her cheek.
loyal to the end. The Horadrim have become that which they swore to fight. It is my duty to end it. Akarat! Grant me your blessing!
She said, realization dawned.
Stand firm!
Tyrael!
Defend yourself. I shall hold back the tide.
All who stand against Akarat will meet Lora's fate!
Myra's voice dropped a mortified whisper. Traitor. Surge chuckled. Yeah, I think it likes me. Her eyes darted up to meet his. Golden irises gleaming in. You're infuriating. He grinned wider. You're warm. So I'll take that as a compliment. For a while, the only sound was the quiet crackle of the fire and the occasional puff of wind outside. Myra's tail eventually uncoiled from his boot, flicking with a mind of its own as she tried to ignore it. The warmth between them was undeniable now, part heat, part tension, part unspoken emotion. Surge broke the silence first. You know, he said, you should really let me check if you've got frostbite. You were out there longer than anyone should be. Her eyes widened slightly. You're not going to poke me, are you? He raised the brow. Poke? What are you, 5? Her tail puffed up again and said, I'm very ticklish, okay. Especially around the ears. Leaning forward slightly. Duly noted. Don't you dare, she warned, ears flapping. But he reached out anyway, brushing the side of her ear gently with a gloved fingertip. She gasped, too quick, too sharp, and pulled back immediately, clutching her tail like a pillow. I told you, she yelled. Sensitive. Surge laughed, a deep, genuine sound that filled his small mouth. You're like a bundle of nerves wrapped in fluff. Her glare faltered, replaced by reluctant amusement. You think this is funny, don't you? I think it's adorable. Her ears twitched again. You think I'm adorable? Don't make it weird, he said, smirking, though his cheeks warmed slightly despite himself. She blinked, then smiled softly. You're terrible at hiding things, you know. He opened his mouth to respond, but something brushed against his hand before he could. Soft, warm, moving. He looked down. Myra's tail had found him again, this time curling over his wrist, slow and deliberate. He froze, eyes flicking from the tail to her face. She was pretending to sip her drink, though her ears trembled like she was trying not to laugh. Oh, so now it's on purpose, Surge muttered. I don't know what you're talking about, she said, tone sugar-sweet, eyes refusing to meet his. The tail moved again, sliding over his forearm. It was the kind of motion that wasn't quite innocent, slow, exploratory, deliberate. Surge leaned forward, lowering his voice. Your tail's a terrible liar. Her lips curled into a smile. Then maybe you should stop teasing it. He blinked, momentarily pulling off her eyes. Then, with a smirk, he leaned a little closer. And what happens if I don't? Mira met his gaze for the first time since the teasing began. Her golden eyes gleamed, full of
Come with me.
challenge and shy confidence. Then maybe it'll tease you back. For a moment, either of them moved. The wind outside faded into nothing. The flicker of the fire painted them in soft gold and shadow. Surge broke into a grin. You're playing with fire, Fox. Maybe I like fire, she whispered. Her tail flicked against his arm again, slow and warm, before retreating suddenly as if embarrassed by its own courage. She turned away quickly, her cheeks glowing brighter than the fire. Surge chuckled quietly to himself, settling back against the wall. All right, I get it. I'll stop pulling the tail. Good, she muttered, still facing away. Can't promise I won't tease it over her. Her ears blinked in warning. You're impossible. He smiled. You have no idea. Outside, the snowstorm began to ease, but inside the little cave, the tension only deepened, something quiet, electric, and full of promise for what the night still held. When morning finally arrived, it crept in softly, thin shafts of sunlight spilling through the cracks of the outlook, cutting through the lingering chill like gentle gold rivets. The storm had left behind a world blanketed in white, smooth, and untouched. It was beautiful, and cold enough to make Surge want to never leave the sleeping bag. Unfortunately, the sleeping bag was no longer still. Something warm and soft shifted beside her, and a sleepy voice mumbled. Warm, stay still. Human heater. Surge opened
Care for a game of
Myra's
chance?
head rested against his shoulder, ears flapping, tails coiled comfortably around his waist.
Oh, we were just
She
getting
looked
warmed
content,
up.
blissfully unaware of just how tangled they were. Hey, he whispered, his voice rasping to sleep. You're hogging all the space. She mumbled something incoherent and pressed closer. He sighed. Of course you are. Eventually, Mira blinked away, golden eyes fluttering. She looked up at him in confusion for about 3 seconds, and then realization dawned. Her entire face turned red. Why are you? Why are we? She pointed at him, then at herself, then at the impossibly close space between them. You're practically glued to me. I'd argue your tail started. Serge replied coolly, glancing down at one still draped over his chest like a fuzzy seagull. I think it's trying to adopt me. Myra's jaw dropped. T-Traitor! Again! Her tail clicked violently in protest, smacking Serge in the face. He froze. Did your tail just hit me? She winced. It's... Got a temper when embarrassed. He blinked slowly, brushing straight fur off his nose. You know, you're lucky I don't hold grudges against body parts. Mira groaned, burying her face in her hands. Fox spirits, why must my tail be like this? She grinned. Maybe it's your real personality trying to escape. Then it's your fault for waking it up. She shot back, voice muffled by her palms. Serge chuckled and began to sit up, stretching his arms with her own. All right, enough tail drama. Breakfast time. Breakfast? Mira peeked through her fingers. You still have food left? I always pack extra, he said, rifling through his bag. Rule number 1, never climb hungry. Rule number 2, if you rescue a fox girl, prepare for her to eat half your rations. Her ears twitched up instantly. I do not eat that much. He raised an eyebrow. You inhaled half the stew last night. That was survival instinct. She protested, tail puffing. You can't hold that against me. I can now. Mira crossed her arms, glaring at him, but the way her stomach growled betrayed her. Serge smirked. See? Your stomach agrees. She tried to glare harder but failed miserably, her ears slowly drooping in defeat. Fine. What's for breakfast? He poured water from his thermos into a small pot, mixing in powdered oats and a bit of dried fruit. The smell filled the house, simple but comforting. Mira leaned closer, sniffing curiously, her tail swaying lazily behind her. It smells good, she admitted. Human food isn't so bad. That's high praise coming from someone who probably eats snow hares raw. She blinked. You're supposed to cook those. He stared at her. You didn't. Her grin widened. I'm kidding. Mostly. Serge shook his head, half amused, half horrified. You're impossible. And yet you saved me, she said, voice softening, her usual sass giving way to something genuine. Thank you, Serge. Really. He looked up from the pot and met her eyes. For a moment, the teasing atmosphere melted away. The fire crackled quietly between them. Don't mention it, he said simply. I couldn't just leave you there. Mira smiled faintly, then, unable to resist, added, besides, you have missed out on sharing your precious sleeping bag. He smirked. Yeah, my favorite part was getting slapped by a tail in my sleep. She snickered, ears twitching. You deserved it. As they ate, Mira grew increasingly animated, her ears wiggling with every bite, her tail swaying whenever Serge complimented her appetite. When she licked a bit of oatmeal off her thumb, she noticed his stare and grinned mischievously. What? She asked innocently. Something on my face? Just watching you work up an appetite for round 2, he said deadpan. Her ears shot straight up. Round 2? Of eating, he clarified with confidence. What else would I mean? Mira blinked, then caught on, cheeks flushing. Why you? You can't just say things like that. Sure I can. I just did. She groaned, covering her face with her hands again. You're the worst. He leaned back, grinning. You say that a lot. And you keep smiling when you do. Her hands lowered just enough to see the small smile she was trying to hide.
That's because you're infuriatingly charming. I'll take that as a compliment. You shouldn't. The morning light grew brighter, bouncing off the snow and spilling across the alcove. The fire had burned down to embers, but neither of them seemed eager to move yet. It was too warm, too easy, too nice. Myra's tail swayed again, brushing lightly against his leg. Serge gave her a look. She tilted her head, feigning innocence. What? It's stretching. Really? The tail brushed higher this time, almost teasingly. Mira. She hid her grin behind her hand. Sorry. It likes the attention. He sighed dramatically. Great. First woman I've shared a bed and breakfast with, and I'm competing with her tail. Her laughter filled the cave, light and
kill.
Then maybe you should try harder. Serge smiled, shaking his head. You're dangerous, you know that.
Lay down your
Her tail
arms,
flicked once.
old
slowly.
friend.
Only if you let me.
Your duty
The tension between them lingered
is done.
again, playful but charged.
Duty.
Outside, the world glittered with morning frost, but inside,
He
it
gave
felt warm
everything
enough
he
to
had
rest.
for it.
The morning calm didn't last
This.
long. By
This
midday,
is his
the sky
reward?
had darkened again. Thick gray clouds rolling
Betrayed and murdered.
Another snow
Damned
front
to
was
eternity on the tree of
Beside,
whispers.
packing away the cooking gear
And all the
tightening
while,
straps on his backpack.
Mephisto
Storm
laughs
circled back,
as we
he said,
fall.
glancing toward the cave mouth. We need to head lower before it gets bad again. Myra's ears
Lorath
pricked as
was
she
the
pulled out
last
her
of my order.
which hung loosely on her small frame.
Perhaps the one I knew best.
You plan an adventure, and the mountain plans your future.
He would tell us to leave him here,
Serge said dryly. And it's
to ride out with your mother's weapon,
that earned
and
a small
drive
laugh.
it into Mephisto's
Gone just
heart,
as fast as the wind. They stepped
to
outside.
save as
Snow
many
crunching
souls as we
The storm
can.
wasn't in full force yet, but the air had been shot by that warning voice. Mira stuck close to him, clutching the strap of his pack like it was a lifeline. Her tail flicked anxiously behind him, brushing against his leg.
The dead deserve nothing, while the living are in danger.
She snapped, nearly slipping unconscious.
So he said,
He turned just in time to catch her by the
but we will bury him at least.
For a second, it froze. Her face switched faces, breath weakly cold. Careful, Serge murmured. Her ears twitched downward, and her voice dropped. You didn't have to grab me so fast. Would you rather I let you fall? She looked away, cheeks tinged pink.
We have what we came for.
But still,
The blade,
he smirked.
the cube,
You're welcome.
and now we must gather our allies
The wind beginning to howl.
before the end.
The path
I
ahead
will
narrowed,
ride to
leading
Celestia.
along a rocky ridge.
Meet me there.
Serge tested the footing carefully and motioning for her to follow. This part's tricky, he warned. Stay close. No sudden moves. Define close, she said, trying to lighten the tension. Enough that I can grab you if you fall again. Her grin returned, faint but sly. Oh, so you want to grab me? He gave her a look. Not the time, Mira. Every time is the time. She muttered under her breath, earning a smirk from him despite himself. They made it halfway across when the wind changed direction suddenly, howling down from the peak with brutal force. Snow blasted their faces, blinding them. Serge planted his axe into the rock and shouted, "Hold on to something!" Myra's answer was instinctive. She wrapped both arms, and her tail, around his torso, pressing close as the wind roared. For a moment, it felt like the mountain itself wanted to peel them away, to toss them into the white abyss below. But Serge held firm, muscles straining, boots digging into ice. The gust lasted less than a minute, but it felt like forever. When it finally eased, they were both panting, covered in fine powder. You okay? Serge shook his head. That tail's gonna be the death of me. Or the reason you survived. She flipped back, smiling up at him. He blinked at her tone, half teasing, half tender. The wind quieted just enough for their eyes to meet, and something unspoken passed between them. The shared adrenaline, the gratitude, the spark that had been simmering since the night before. You really don't listen, do you? He said softly. Not to humans. replied, stepping a little closer. But you're an exception. The moment was interrupted by a loud crack, the sound of snow shifting above. Serge's instincts flared. Get it back, he barked, grabbing her arm again. A curtain of snow fell from the cliffside, burying the narrow path behind them and sealing their route. The noise was deafening for a few seconds, then silence. The path was gone. Myra's ears drooped. Well, that's bad. Could have been worse, Serge said, checking her over. draped comfortably over his thigh. The combined warmth was immediate and intoxicating. For a while, they stayed quiet, listening to the muffled roar of the storm outside. Myra's a small but then it slid down his leg again, curling lightly, the movement smooth and curious. Serge froze. Mira, he said softly, eyes closed. Her breath caught, and for a moment, the space between them seemed to shrink even further. The faint glow of the embers painted her eyes in amber, and when she spoke again, her voice was softer, almost vulnerable. Maybe I'm just not used to someone keeping up with me. He smiled faintly. Then he was long people. Silence. Then her tail twitched again, just once, brushing his hand kind of rested. Yeah, he said quietly. Me too. Outside, the storm raged on. But inside the sleeping bag, wrapped in each other's warmth, it felt a world away. Her tail shifted again, curling around his waist this time. It wasn't mischievous anymore. It was protective, affectionate, like it finally knew what it wanted. Accepted a small path it carved. And wanted to put into words just yet. Her tails were everywhere, one draped across his stomach, another coiled. Good morning, partner. He raised her brow. Her tail flicking a mock off. You humans have no sense of romance, and you foxes have too much. He counted.
Mira grinned and sat up, stretching her arms high above her head, arching her back with the long major tail stand out like a halo of white and orange. As if the silence itself made her restless, Myra's tail flipped once, twice, then slid forward. I didn't say anything. Her eyes narrowed. You're thinking it. You said. I said nothing. Exactly, she said, grinning. Something warmer, heavier, and when she leaned forward this time, it wasn't to taunt him. Around his chest, and her tail curled loosely around his wrist. I wasn't joking, she whispered. I really do like you. He reached up, brushing her thumb under her chin. Lifting her gaze. bag this time. Mira giggled, cheeks flushed, eyes shining. He smiled faintly. And for a fox, you're way too good at making me forget we're stuck on a mountain. Maybe I'm your lucky charm. He chuckled. She leaned again. Fresh snow blanketed every rock and ridge, the air crisp and diamond clear. The sun had finally broken through the clouds, its rays scattering across the frost like shards of gold. Serge stood at the mouth of the little cave, squinting out into the bright expanse. "Looks like the weather's giving us a truce," he said. "Time to move before it changes its mind again." Behind him, Mira was busy adjusting the straps of her borrowed pack, which, given her smaller frame, looked almost comically oversized. "I'm starting to think your mountain's alive,"
You
she
there?
muttered.
Are you the
"And it
wanderer?
doesn't like foxes. It doesn't like anyone," Serge said, testing the ground with his boot.
It's my mentor,
"That's why I
Curator
like it.
Ludea. She
It
is not
keeps you
herself.
humble."
Please, she's in the
Mira
infernal
crossed her
wing.
arms, tail flicking. "You have a weird definition of fun. You've said that before." He smirked and slung his pack over his shoulder. "Come on, Furball. I'll clear the path ahead." She groaned but followed, trudging after him with visible effort. The snow came up to her knees in some places, and more than once she had to grab his arm just to keep her balance. Her tail occasionally brushed against his side, as if using him as a guide. "See?" Serge said with a grin. "You're getting She obeyed, staying near his side. After that, big word for a fox. Bigger attitude for human. She countered, smirking as he finally released her. She jumped, stepped on Fox's steps, into the moonlight and the trees of the winter period, dark silhouettes standing tall at the bottom of his face. By the time they reached the tree, the sun was already sinking low, staining the snow a soft orange that matched the tips of Myra's hair. Serge stopped to take it in, breathing. Made it. Mostly in one piece. Mira looked around.
The moon has touched the sun. What's keeping the queen?
So this is what victory feels like.
She'll be here.
Cold. He grinned. narrow trail. Smoke still rose faintly from its old chimney. Myra's eyes widened. You have a house up here? It's a cabin, he corrected. Don't get excited. It's got one bed and a coffee pot older than I am. She clasped her hands dramatically. A roof and heat? I think I'm in love. Yeah, I've heard that one before, he said, smirking as he opened the door. Inside
I know you, Amazon. You were with us in Athalua.
Aye, sir. Under Captain Tara's command. Being honest, it's good to see you both.
The embers back to life. Mara wandered in behind him.
Back in Athalua with the garrison, our queen sent orders to march them here for the eclipse.
She said,
Akarat's orders, you mean?
But cozy.
What was
Exactly
Captain
how I like
Thara's answer?
He replied.
She didn't give one, but she sent me ahead to observe.
She grinned.
The queen's
Her tail
forces
curling
stand ready
playfully
for
around
battle.
his waist.
Against what enemy?
You didn't seem to
No
mind
one
the
knows,
company last
but
night. He
they've
looked over
arrested
his
the
shoulder
orc.
at her, the faintest hint
Where?
of a smile tugging his lips.
In the observatory
You're
at
really
Spear
not
Point.
gonna let that go, huh? Not
The
a chance.
disgrace of it.
She said, ears flicking
The worst
mischievously.
is yet to come.
He shook
Scout,
his head,
I must speak
chuckling
with
as he
Captain
poured
Thara.
water
Take
into
me
a
to
kettle.
her.
You're
As for
dangerous
you,
when you're comfortable.
see to the Oracle
I'm adorable
and
when I'm
avoid
comfortable.
violence.
She corrected.
These Amazons are
He
not
glanced
the
at her,
enemy,
eyes
and will
trailing
need
briefly
every
from her
soul we
face to
can
her
muster
tails.
to move against
Can't argue
Mephisto.
that. Mara blinked, momentarily thrown off by his sincerity. W was that a compliment? Don't get used to
What
it.
are they doing back
She
here?
smiled softly, her voice dropping to a whisper.
What
Too
are
late.
we still doing here?
As the
We need
kettle
to join
began to
Akarat.
whistle, she stood beside him, close enough that their shoulders touched.
No, I am fearful.
Outside, the snow
I
continued to
open
fall
my
in gentle
heart
flakes.
to your light.
But for the first time
Come
since their
along now,
strange
Serie, we
meeting,
don't
neither
want
of
to
them
hurt
felt
you.
the cold.
Can't
Evening
you
settled
see what
softly
is
over the
happening?
mountain base. The storm had passed for good this time. No more howling winds.
Halt!
No
In the
more
name of the
biting
Queen!
snow. Just the
Please,
quiet
Matron,
creak of the
let them
cabin's
speak.
wood and the
Time is
rhythmic hiss
short.
of the old stove. For the first time in days, Serge felt his shoulders
I don't
relax.
care what you
He
wish,
leaned back in
demon.
the small wooden chair.
Akarat
rubbed
is the
his sticky
demon.
key in hand,
He
watching
promises
the
you
last light of
salvation,
day
yet
fade through the
Scovos
frosted window.
burns. He
The world
preaches against
outside was
hate,
still white,
yet
but
sows
calm,
division.
tamed.
We
Behind
are
him,
not
Mira
divided.
was rummaging
We
through his
stand with
supplies
Queen
like she owned the
Adriana.
place.
She named
So
you our
this is what
enemy.
you
Where
mean
is
when
she?
You're not getting buried alive?
Adriana is
She
dead.
teased, holding up a
What?
half-empty jar of
You
instant
lie.
coffee like it was a rare relic.
It was her
More or
fear
less,
that decided
he
her
said.
fate.
Keeps me close
She
to the
used to
trailheads.
cradle my head when I
Simple
was a
setup.
child, when the
Food,
visions
fire, and
roared
peace.
between my ears.
She turned tail swishing.
Through the din, I'd hear her
Peace.
voice,
Sounds
so
boring.
strong and
Boring's
yet so
underrated.
afraid for me.
Mara laughed,
She was afraid
hopping
for
up
us
onto
all,
the edge of the table
for
beside him.
Scovos.
You know,
Akarat
you
took
could
her
make it less
fear
boring
and
if you
pressed
kept
it
me
into
around.
his palm until
He
it
gave her a
turned
look
to
over the rim
hatred.
of his mug. That
Silence!
sounds like a threat.
She
It's an
chose
invitation.
him and he drove
She
her to
corrected,
madness,
grinning.
just
Think
as
of
he
all the
drives
fun
you
we had.
now.
I could cook.
You can still
You
choose,
burned snow the
sister.
other night.
Let go of
She
your
frowned.
hatred before
That was
he
an
takes you
experiment.
too.
He chuckled,
What?
shaking his head.
Is that?
You're not exactly a sales
The
pitch,
eclipse.
Mira.
It's
Her
happening!
smile softened.
Too
Maybe
late.
not. But I make good company, don't I? He opened his mouth, ready with another
Our choices were made in the full light of day.
Her ears were relaxed. Her golden
Now
eyes
our fate will be decided in darkness. Balanced on the tip of a blade.
For the Queen! For Akarat!
Their souls are lost. Only death will stop them. Bar the doors! Quickly!
Her tail was draped around the chair. No! Framing her like
Why?
This saved me, Serge. And now, she leaned inside him, her voice playful but
were trembling at the edge.
Those doors won't hold. They'll get inside.
Get down! Is that a promise or...
Through the breach! Kill everyone inside!
There's no end to them.
No! I see them coming! Hacking! Screaming!
She'd been holding her breath for hours, then leapt lightly from the table, straight into
a gift.
Her arms wrapped around his
from
neck,
Laura.
her tails curling around his waist, pulling him close with surprising strength. I knew you liked me, she said, laughing breathlessly against his chest. Like, he said with mock irritation. That's one word for it. Oh? She tilted her head up, eyes gleaming. Got a better one? He smirked. Several. Her tails tightened their hold playfully. You're gonna have to prove it, mountain man. He didn't hesitate this time. He kissed her again, deeper, hungrier, laughter breaking between breaths as she pulled him closer. Her tails wrapped around them both like a blanket, sealing them away from the cold world outside. The fire crackled brighter, throwing shadows across the cabin walls. When they finally pulled apart, both breathless and grinning, Lyra's ears twitched happily. That settles it, she said. You're mine now. He raised a brow. That how it works in fox culture? Yup, she said confidently. Tail around the waist, kissed by the fire, instant claim. Sounds awfully convenient. Her grin turned sly. You don't seem to be complaining. He chuckled, brushing his thumb across her cheek. Not yet. She nuzzled into his chest, her voice a soft murmur. You better not, because I'm not going anywhere. I figured, he said, smiling against her hair. Good. Her tail flipped once more, tightening slightly around him. Because if you ever tried to climb another mountain alone, she looked up with mock severity. I'll come find you and drag you back down myself. He laughed, the sound echoing warmly through the cabin. Deal. Outside, the wind had gone still. The stars shimmered faintly over the endless stretch of white. Inside, the cabin glowed golden with firelight and laughter, and in the center of it all, a fox girl curled against a human with her tails wrapped tight around him, just to make sure the world knew he wasn't going anywhere. As Serge leaned back and glanced towards the window, he couldn't help but smile. Next time, he murmured, I'm bringing 2 sleeping bags. Mira looked up, grinning. Why? Planning to share again? He smirked. Because your tail clearly needs its own. Her laughter rang out, soft and bright, and for the first time since the climb began, Serge realized he hadn't conquered the mountain. He'd found something better at the top of it. If you enjoyed this cozy HFY story, make sure to like and subscribe for more Fox Girl adventures and Human Meets Indian Tales. Tell me... Ever shared a sleeping bag with a fox girl whose tail has a mind of its own? What started as one cold night turned into pancakes, puppy cakes, and a very fluffy surprise. Tap like, subscribe, and curl up in the bed. You don't want to miss this tail-twisting sequel. Snow still whispered against the windows, soft and harmless this time. The storm had ended days ago, yet the mountains kept their quiet rhythm. Wind sang through pines,
the occasional thud of snow slipping from a branch. Inside the small cabin, warmth drifted lazily from the stove, carrying the smell of coffee and toasted bread. Mira stretched across the couch, wrapped in one of Serge's flannels that was far too big for her. Her tail spilled over the edge like living blankets, flicking now and then as if they still had opinions about the cold.
We were just getting
Serge
warmed
sat at
up.
the table sharpening one of his climbing knives, pretending not to watch her steal the last piece of toast from his plate. You know, he said without looking up. Sharing my sleeping bag apparently gave you the idea that everything I own is community property. Mira bit the toast with a grin. You should regret for saving your life. He snorted. Pretty sure it was the other way around. Details. She waved her tail lazily. You were freezing too. My tails kept you alive. You even said so in your sleep. Serge's
Care
head.
for a game of chance?
I did not. Oh, you did. Her eyes sparkled. Something about best pillow ever. He set the knife down with mock action. If I start sleep talking again, I'm buying separate beds. Mira laughed, a musical sound that filled the little room. You wouldn't last one night without me stealing the blanket. What would you to assume I still have a blanket? He muttered, glancing at the heap of fur and
Mascari fire.
Thora!
Thora!
Correct. We have a blanket.
Bastard of
You're
fortune, there
terrible
you
at
are!
sharing, you know.
Get your ass down here!
Coming from the woman who colonized my bed, my jacket.
Is the Oracle alive?
She is. Lost in some vision, but her seers are with her. Safe for now.
Serge sighed.
Let's keep them
So
that
the
way.
corner of his mouth twitched. Remind me to stop rescuing talkative foxes. You miss me. She leaned back.
Everything went dark
Her
on our
tail
way
smelling
here.
like question marks.
But by their torches,
Besides, who
I'd
else
say
is
half
going
the
to remind
Amazon
you of a
Legion,
terrible cook?
all shouting
I taught you how to
Akarat's
blow water.
name.
And yet you still managed to burn
Where is
yesterday.
Tyrion?
He pointed
His
mother.
fight is in Athenos.
That pot was
Right now,
compromised by
ours is
sabotage.
here. Sister
Mira
against
gasped
sister.
dramatically. You
Follow
were
me.
teasing me? I was grouping my tails.
We must push back the
Exactly
crowd.
my point.
Target their
You
weapons.
shed in the stew.
To
She
the
burst
death!
out laughing.
No mercy! They're breaking down the doors! The doors are splintered, but they should hold. No mercy! The towers are finished.
Maybe, she said, voice quiet.
We must deal with their
He turned
captains.
back to the fire.
You betray our queen, Dara, for this demon! By his will!
Keep position!
You do not deserve his mercy!
Like me. He almost dropped him out. Why not?
Walk with us, Gala sisters. May she forgive us. The observatory is ours. Let's see to the oracle.
That's not a factor yet. She said. Parker pulling it out. It hung like a dress, brushing her thighs. She twirled once, tail spinning behind her. How do I look? Like you robbed me. He said, but his voice had softened. She stepped closer, eyes wide. Encouraging. Later, while she brushed her He exhaled, steadying himself. You're going to be the death of me, or the reason you live longer. Her tail slid around his legs, warm and soft.
unit for emotional support and heroism, which Serge translated as brace for chaos. He sat at the table, half awake, when the
Boiling
first crash
seas,
came from the kitchen.
pools of
Mirror?
black.
That sounded like the skillet. It jumped. He rubbed his temples. Skillet stone. Another plan.
Breaks the surface, Atanos trembles. Old bones cracking, crushing, spilling hatred.
He said.
His flock rushed to embrace him. Blood in the waters.
I meant to make pancakes.
Black.
The flower fought back.
Akarat's miracle.
Hands on
Can you stop him?
The counter
Do you
looked
have
like a
Lilith's
battlefield.
blade?
Batter dripping from
I
the
can,
cabinets.
and I do.
Tail-shaped imprint on the
Thanks to
flower cover.
Lorath.
How did you even...
Tyrael told me.
Science,
We'll mourn the dead
she said
later.
proudly,
Go now and
brandishing a whiz
avenge
that had
them.
somehow
I'll be
glued
right
itself
behind
together.
you.
He stared. You weaponized breakfast.
Where am I?
You look too clean.
I can't move my
That's
legs.
suspicious.
It's
He
all
pulled
right,
himself
Thira.
back.
We're at the observatory. Let's
A
get you
lump of
back
batter hit
inside.
his chest with a wet splot. He froze. You didn't. Oh, I absolutely did. Flower flew. So did laughter. He grabbed a handful and tapped it against the top of her head. She retaliated by tossing a spoonful that missed completely but coated the wall. In seconds, the cabin turned into a snow-white blizzard of powder and giggles. Her tails whipped around like mischievous paintbrushes, smearing streaks across his shirt. Call truce! She squealed between laughs.
Let's go.
You liked it! He lunged for the whisk. She dodged, slipping on a patch of flour and colliding right into it. They both went down in a heap of laughter and soft hugs, a small explosion of white rising around them. For a heartbeat, everything still. Mara lay sprawled across his chest, her hair a halo of gold-tipped white, her nose dusted with flour. The warmth between them wasn't from the stove. She blinked up at him, breathless and smiling. I think the pancakes are winning. Let's surrender, he murmured. They're armed. Her laugh melted into a quiet smile. Her tail, still twitching, brushed his leg, an innocent touch that made him acutely aware of how close they were. Then she grinned again, breaking the moment. Next time you cook. Deal, he said, though he didn't move just yet. When they finally stood, both looked like ghosts made of flour. Mara blew at a streak on her arm, sending a puff straight into his face. Oops. He wiped at his hair timidly. That was intentional. Maybe. You're cleaning this, he repeated, but without conviction. She smiled sweetly. We'll clean together. Builds teamwork. Cleaning turned into another kind of battle. Playful nudges, teasing arguments about who spilled more. By the time the kitchen looked normal again, the daylight had shifted toward afternoon, and the pantry looked ransacked. We're out of everything, Serge said, checking the shelves. Good. Mara chirped. Adventure time. Adventure? To the market. You promised civilization eventually. He groaned, but she was already pulling on boots far too big for her, tails swishing in triumph. The walk into town took an hour. The snow had thinned, leaving sparkling patches that caught in Myra's hair. Every few steps she stopped to examine something. An icicle, a bird, her reflection in the color, until Serge had to hurry her forward. By the time they reached the small market street, her excitement was contagious. She darted from stall to stall, eyes wide at every scent and color. How do humans choose anything? Everything
I thought
smells
mainlanders
edible.
had a sense
That's
of
because
adventure.
it is, he said, paying for vegetables she'd already sniffed. At the bakery stall, she pressed her hand to the glass. Look, little pies. You can have one. 2, 1, 3, and I share one bite. He sighed. You're negotiating with yourself now. She turned the corner, and she stopped dead. In a pet shop window, a small fox-colored puppy wagged its tail frantically at her. Mara crouched, tails waving, eyes shining. Serge, look. He knew that tone, the same one that had preceded the sleeping bag incident, the blanket annexation, and the pancake war. No, but look at it. It'll shed everything. So do I. He rubbed his forehead. That's not helping your case.
She turned her gaze up to him, the full power of wide golden eyes and drooping ears. Please? He lasted 10 seconds. Fine. But you trained it. She squealed, hugging him impulsively before darting into the shop. By the time he caught up, she was already at the counter, the puppy licking her fingers. His name's Crumb, she announced. That's appropriate, he said, glancing down at his still flower-stained boots. The shopkeeper laughed. She already paid, he said, handing over a leash. With what? Mara lifted his coin pouch, jingling with instinct. Teamwork, he sighed. But when Crumb yipped and Mara giggled, he couldn't help smiling. Welcome to the family, I guess. As they walked back through the falling snow, Mara carried the pup against her chest, its fur blending with hers. Serge walked beside her, listening to her hum, watching her tails curl protectively around the little creature. The warmth between them felt different now, domestic, alive, and slightly terrifying. Don't worry, she said, glancing at him. You'll get used to us. Us? Me and the Tail Brigade. He shook his head, chuckling. I already have. Snowflakes danced in the air around them as they headed home. One man, one fox girl, one very happy puppy, and a trail of flowers still clinging to their coats. The cabin had never felt cozier. The wind outside had softened into a hum, like the mountain itself was breathing slower now that it knew they were safe. Inside, the air smelled faintly of firewood.
Stones to cut, gems to set.
Crumb was curled near the stove, snoring like a tiny engine, while Mara brushed her tail by the firelight, humming a tune Serge couldn't place. He sat nearby, carving a small wooden fox for her collection on the mantel. She'd insisted
What is a waitress, isn't it?
Mantle now, and somehow that stuck faster than he'd admit. You know, Mara said, glancing over her shoulder. I think Crumb likes me better than you. That's because you feed him every 10 minutes, Serge replied, not looking up from his carving. Exactly. I'm nurturing. It's instinct. He smirked. Or bribery. Both work. She smiled, setting her brush down. He follows me everywhere. Look, he's learning from the best. Crumb twitched in his sleep. Serge eyed the little bundle of fur. Yeah, the resemblance is uncanny. Myra's tails twitched, half amused. You're lucky you're cute when you tease me. Noted, he said. She slid across the rug, sitting beside him and listening to his arm. You carved a lot, she said softly. What's this one? He showed her. A fox. Who else? She grinned, eyes sparkling. You're getting better at tails. Practice, he said. Not easy when the model keeps moving. Her ears flicked, amused. You watch them? He hesitated. They're hard to miss. Her smile turned mischievous. You sure that's the only reason? Maybe not. A faint laugh escaped her, and she rested her head on his shoulder. You know, she murmured. It's funny. I used to think I'd be alone forever. Then I got lost, found a mountain, and somehow ended up here, with you, a fireplace, and a puppy that snores louder than thunder. He glanced down at her. You saying you're happy? I'm saying, she said, tracing a finger over his arm, that maybe this isn't enough forever. He raised an eyebrow. You want a bigger stove? Her laugh was quiet and bright. No, bigger family. That made him blink. Family? Mira nodded, eyes fixed on the fire. In my village, we used to talk about kids' fox cubs. Small, fluffy, impossible. The kind that bite your tail for fun. He smiled faintly. Sounds exhausting. Adorable, she corrected. I used to imagine what it'd be like, raising them somewhere safe. Somewhere warm. Maybe a place like this. Her tone was soft, almost shy. For all her teasing confidence, she'd never sounded quite like this, unguarded, hopeful. Serge turned his carving knife slowly in his fingers. You've been thinking about that? She tilted her head against him, golden eyes catching the firelight. A little. You make it easy to think about. He gave a low chuckle. That sounds like a compliment. Or a trap.
Both, she said, smiling. You'd make a good father. Grumpy, protective, handsome in that stubborn human way. He laughed under his breath. You've got quite the imagination. It's not imagination, she whispered, her tail brushing softly across his lap. It's something I want. Someday. The tail lingered there, just a gentle motion, not teasing, not mischievous.
Like the eyes of Lycander herself.
Surge looked at her, really looked, the way her ears angled toward him when she waited for his answer, the nervous flick at the tip of her tail, the unspoken
Wise to
question
seek an
behind her
Ascari
smile.
where stones are
He didn't
concerned.
answer right away. Instead, he reached up and brushed a thumb across her cheek. Someday, he said finally. I wouldn't mind that either. Her ears perked instantly. Really? Yeah, he said, voice low but certain. But for now, let's make sure the puppy's house-trained first. Mara burst into laughter, half joy, half disbelief, curling closer against him. You ruin every perfect moment. Someone has to keep you from getting ideas too fast. Oh, I already have ideas, she teased, looking up with that sly fox grin. You'll catch up eventually. Her tail flicked again, brushing his chin, and he caught it lightly, holding it between his fingers. You're trouble. And you like trouble, she said, smiling. He didn't argue. The fire crackled, throwing golden light over both of them, their laughter, their closeness, the tiny dog twitching in his sleep. Outside, snow began to fall again, silent and endless. Inside, Myra's tail curled around him and she whispered something half teasing, half sincere. Someday soon, this cabin's going to feel a lot fuller. Surge smiled. Guess I should start building an extension. The next morning dawned bright and almost too quiet. Even the puppy seemed to sense that something in the cabin had shifted overnight. Mira was humming while feeding from, her tails moving in a lazy rhythm, while Surge sat at the table pretending to read a leather chart. He hadn't turned a page in 10 minutes. Every so often he caught himself watching her, how she swayed slightly when she moved, how the firelight traced the orange edges of her hair. It wasn't just admiration anymore. It was the kind of awareness that crept in when you realized your life had changed quietly behind your back. You're doing that stare again, she said without turning. He blinked. What stare? The one that says you're thinking about something serious. That's dangerous for you. He chuckled. Maybe I was thinking about breakfast. Liar. She turned, holding out a plate. Lucky for you, I didn't burn the toast this time. He accepted it, smiling faintly. Progress. See? Domestic bliss. She slid onto the chair across from him, chin resting on her palms. Now you tell me what's actually in that head of yours. Surge hesitated, tracing a line on the table. You ever wonder what comes next? Mira tilted her head. Next as in adventure? Or next as in you trying to avoid doing dishes? Both. He exhaled a laugh, then shook his head. No, I mean us. This. He gestured around, the fire, the dog, the chaos that had somehow become home. You talked about family last night. About kids. And it got me thinking. Her ears perked slightly. Oh? He nodded. I don't know what my life was supposed to look like, but it wasn't this. I used to think I needed to be out there, climbing, chasing storms, proving something. Now I wake up and the only thing I want to climb out of is the blanket you keep stealing. Myra's smile grew slow and soft. That almost sounded romantic. Almost? He met her eyes. I'm still learning. She leaned forward a little. Keep going. I like this version of you. He laughed quietly, rubbing the back of his neck. You make me nervous when you're nice. Then I'll be very, very nice. He glanced at her, at the way her tails framed her like a living portrait, at the curve of her grin that promised trouble. I meant what I said. About someday. The family thing. Her teasing softened into something brighter. You did? Yeah. He looked away briefly, then back again. I've spent most of my life surviving. You make me want to live. That's new for me. For a heartbeat, she said nothing. Then she stood, walked around the table, and slipped into the chair beside him instead. You know, she whispered, if you keep saying things like that, I might start believing you're the romantic one. He smirked. Don't tell anyone. Secret safe. Her tail brushed his arm as she settled closer, the motion slow and deliberate. So, if we're talking about futures, shouldn't there be something present first? Such as? Maybe a date, she said, tapping his chest lightly. A real one. With food that isn't burned and clothes that aren't flannel. You don't like flannel? I love it, she admitted, tugging the sleeve of his shirt playfully.
Oh, look what the tide washed up.
He raised an eyebrow. Dangerous request. Worth it, she said, smiling. I want a night where we're not trapped by snow or half covered in snow.
An excellent pull, my friend.
Serge studied her face.
A fate
the hopeful
smiles.
curve of her lips, the mischievous spark in her eyes, and felt something shift quietly inside his chest. Then it's a date, he said. Her ears twitched in delight. You mean it? Of course. He paused. Just don't pick somewhere that involves public cooking. No promises. They laughed, the easy sound filling the room again. Crumb barked once as if to confirm the arrangement. Mira reached down to scratch his ears, still smiling. You hear that, little one? Your humans are going on a date. Serge groaned. Don't call us that. Too late. You already agreed to the title. She winked, standing. Now, if we're going out, I need something nice to wear. He leaned back, watching her tails vanish around the corner. Define nice, he called after her. Her voice floated back, teasing and bright. You'll see. Try not to faint. When the night finally arrived, the cabin looked almost unrecognizable. Mira had decided that. First dates require atmosphere, which meant the small space now glowed with candles balanced on every flat surface. Serge suspected half of them came from the emergency supply kit. Are you trying to summon something? He asked, eyeing the flickering display. Romance, she said, adjusting one last candle. Much harder to summon than lighting, apparently. He grinned. Good thing I brought backup. He held up a paper bag. Inside was takeout from the tiny cafe in town, the only place within 20 miles that served actual wine. Dinner, as promised. No flower fights allowed. Myra's ears perked. And here I was planning dessert warfare. Not happening. She pouted dramatically. You're no fun. Yet you keep me around.
PT, to break another's work.
Pretend not to be fun, she said, stepping closer.
Back to it then.
Now sit. I've been practicing not burning things. They ate on the floor by the fire, the puppy snoozing nearby. Mary managed to spill nothing, which she celebrated with mock applause. The conversation wandered from ridiculous. Would you still like me if I had 9 tails? To sincere. What did you dream of before the mountains? He told her about the climbs, the silence, the need to keep moving. She listened, and tilted tails flicking in rhythm. You sound like you were running away from something. Maybe, he admitted. But I think I was looking for something, too. Didn't realize it until you showed up in a snowdrift. She smiled softly. And here I thought I ruined your peace. You did, he said, hair slow. And I'm grateful. Her ears folded slightly, warmth blooming in her cheeks. You're getting good at this. I've had practice, he teased. 1 fox girl's worth. Mira looked back up her hands, looking him over. You know, she said slowly. Humans clean up nicely. He chuckled. And you're overdressed. And to compete with your rugged charm. She brushed invisible dust from her sleeve, then stretched, her tails curling like lazy flames. The firelight